Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered. My name's Umama and I'm here with Tamur, Jamal, and Hannah. And today we're going to be talking about the recent events that happened in France.
Yeah, so for those of you guys who don't know, there was actually a stabbing and decapitation of a teacher in it was Paris. It was like the suburbs of Paris, and it was by a Moscow-born Chechen refugee who identified as a Muslim, and it was done in broad daylight. So that was super shocking to everyone in France, everyone around the world, and because of that, pretty much the French government kind of destroyed Muslims in a sense. They used that as an opportunity to push everything against them, push them to the wall, deem them all as terrorists, etc. And we have a lot to talk about today regarding that.
So basically, France is also known to have a lot of like Islamophobic events that happen within France. I know like a couple of years back too, there was a lot of Islamophobic events happening towards hijabis and women that wear niqab. So I remember that happening. But other than that, what other like background is there for the history of Islam in France?
Well, what's really interesting about France is that there's a push for secularism within like their nation, and so they really have this idea of like there should be no public religion, but the religion that gets affected by that most is Islam, because Islam is one of the only religions where people can obviously tell if you're Muslim, with regards to the hijab, and then we definitely have like our traits, which is not necessarily Islam or like a representation, but we have the beards and all, and there's definitely like a sense of, it's almost to say that they don't want to see Islam because they have a ban on hijab in public school. They have bans on like burkinis or like anything that covers you up at the beach. There's so many things, even to the point where you can't wear like a necklace that has a cross or like a little crescent on it anymore. Like that's banned in public schools as well. And so this push of secularism is meant to like kind of destroy all religion with regards to their school system, like their public places, but it mostly affects Muslims.
It's actually really interesting because France has publicly funded schools, so you don't have to pay tuition to go to school, or at least grade school, from what I know. And what happened is that this teacher that got stabbed and decapitated, pretty much what he did is that he was teaching his freedom of speech class. Was it freedom of speech class? I think it was freedom of speech class, and he was drawing cartoons and showing the kids cartoons of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And obviously in Islam we don't really make references to the Prophet in the form of like figures or cartoons because no one knows what he looks like, and we're not supposed to try to like put that out there. And because of that, this incident happened. So I kind of wanted to ask, like, France is known to have like freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Is it freedom of speech to do what he did in the classroom? I think we could all agree the murder was wrong. It should not have happened. We 100% denounce the murder. Like, that's terrible. That shouldn't, you should not, like, no one would be proud of that as a Muslim. That guy is not a Muslim for doing that. But what do you guys think about freedom of speech and being able to make drawings like that, even though it obviously goes across bad in Islamic terms?
I think obviously freedom of speech is really important, but the thing is there's like a fine line between like being respectful of other religions and even other races. And even like in America, we have freedom of speech, and usually, when someone goes against a certain religion or race or ethnicity or anything, like, people get called out for it, they get called upon their actions. And I feel like in America, like we really obviously Americans are still learning, but we do know that fine line where you can't like cross certain things because you have to be respectful of other people's like religion and all of that. So I feel like that's something France should learn as well.
Yeah, I don't think anyone deserves whatever happened to that teacher, and I don't know the context behind it exactly or what he was trying to teach them when it came to, I don't know if it was just Islam or other religions as overall, but freedom of speech, I guess, like, I feel bad. Those kids should not have done what they did. It makes no sense, honestly, but yeah.
So I'm not entirely familiar with the way that France's laws work out, right? But I know that in America, hate crimes are punishable offenses, and to the point where it's a crime to use racial slurs, like with regards to other people. And I just feel like the villain are doing something that goes directly against Muslim people, and it's something that, if there's Muslim people in the classroom, I would feel personally offended. I would feel personally attacked, and I would feel like my religious freedom is at risk in a classroom where a teacher is not respecting my beliefs, right? And so I feel like that, I don't know if it's too extreme to equate it to like almost a hate crime, but I feel like it is so disrespectful to the point where, of course, it's not justifiable that he died, but it's to the point where can that really be classified as free speech if it harms so many people?
Yeah, so from like a Muslim point of view, right? Like, it's terrible that as a teacher, he was doing stuff like that. Like, that's deeply offensive to Muslims. But if you think about on the flip side, if you're French and if you're not Muslim and you're living in France and you see on the news that someone in Paris gets decapitated in broad daylight and it was by a refugee Muslim, and they already have this big stigma of Muslims existing in their country, like they don't like Muslims in general, like it's been a recurring thing. They're gonna get really emotional about this. So how do you guys see that, like, leveling out?
So the thing is, even like in America, from like what we've seen, and even in France, one thing that I've seen across like majority of countries is what they do is when they're like, you know how the person who did the stabbing was a claimed Muslim. Obviously, like in Islam, we don't like condone violence of any kind. So he was claiming himself to be Muslim, you know. But the thing is, I feel like when things like this happen, it gives like the media a way to basically pinpoint it on the whole religion, you know. And for example, like in America, like, you know, there's the KKK, and like it's based on like a specific sect of Christianity. But the thing is, like, KKK still exists, but the thing is, I've never heard anyone blaming the whole religion of Christianity. But even in America, when it comes to like Muslims, like, you know, with 9/11 or like even this incident, what they have done is like they attack the whole religion, which is not okay. So I feel like that's one thing that they do is like they make sure that like the media portrays that like, oh yeah, like Islam's bad, look what Islam does. And since they already have like a background of, you know, like not condoning condoning Islamophobic behavior, that says a lot about them as well.
I think the president is just ignorant to like Islam and stuff. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He just heard that. He saw what happened. He's just taking it out on all of us instead of actually like knowing
Yeah.
what's. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I agree with Umama. Part of it's a media thing, and then also from the president's point of view, he has an election coming up, and the French people elected him in the first place. He's very like super right wing, right? And his like statement that he made after this happened, pretty much what he said is that the Republic of France needs to act against Muslims, radical Muslims, and Islam is a religion in crisis. And because of those statements, and because of the cartoons that have been going around, and him condoning the cartoons, the French president, there have been protests across France from Muslims, like all kinds of stuff like that. And in specific, there was a mosque that was actually closed down right after because of suspicion around like the source of like where this dude prayed. You know what I mean? So they shut down the whole mosque. So I think that kind of goes to show like it was a bad act. It should not have happened. But why are you holding the entire community responsible?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Why
And
are
I
you
feel
holding
like-
all the Muslims responsible?
And I feel like the reason why it's also like that is because of their leadership. Also, like where the attack happened, the city was called Nice, and basically the mayor basically said that they should modify like the French's like constitution or whatever to be able to like wage. This is like an actual article from the New York Times to basically wage war against like extremists, like Islam extremists, not even like extremists in general, but like specifically Islam extremists. And I feel like that's way out of hand because the thing is he's basically condoning war over this incident, and he's basically putting a religion to it, which is like. The thing is, if anything, like, if it seems like, oh, Islam's condoning violence, he's condoning violence as well. If he's the one, he's like, oh, yeah, we should be able to take proper actions. So it's very contradicting on what the leaders of France stand for as well.
The issue with that is it goes a lot further than condoning violence. It's inciting violence against Muslims. Like recently, when it was two Algerian women, mothers, you know, they had children at home, they had lives ahead of them, and they were killed like in a brutal attack by two other French citizens. And over what? Over being Muslim, you know. It was
Outside the Eiffel Tower, right? Is that
right,
the same one?
outside the Eiffel Tower. Why? They asked them to hold their dogs away from them, and that enough, due to the hatred in those people's heart, was enough to kill them, to kill two innocent people. And so for the president to go ahead and say stuff like, "Oh, Islam is a religion in crisis" or something, that's doing so much more damage than you would think.
Yeah, my personal opinion is that he's looking for votes. Like, his election is coming up. He already knows that there's already so much Islamophobia that's condoned, and people already hate Muslims. Why not capitalize off of this incident, even though it's terrible, even though it's bad, and the person that did it actually ended up getting shot and killed by the police right after. But even if he wasn't, he would have been in jail and everything. And I think Muslims across condone him for what he did. But at the same time, those drawings are not okay. And for the president to condone those drawings, to kind of mock the religion as a whole, and then they pitch it as like, this is a fight against radical Islam, but then they make all these like rules and laws and conditions that hurt the entire community,
And
hurt all
also-
Muslims.
And also with like the depiction of like the drawings and everything, I think it was the president. He said that, oh, we're not going to take them away because the thing is it doesn't go with our values. But
Freedom of speech.
yeah, like what are
Yeah.
your values? Disrespecting other people's religion, like it
Yeah.
does. Whatever he has to say, like everything he says, like contradicts itself, and none of it like really stands for like what he believes in too.
Yeah, freedom of speech comes with like responsibility. You can't just
yeah.
say whatever you want whenever you
Exactly.
want. You need to have some kind of responsibility and basis when you talk about things. But yeah, I think, and already like in France, they already have massive surveillance. Like even before this, they had crazy massive surveillance. And these cartoons were actually brought up back in 2016. It was actually in a magazine. I actually wrote it down.
I remember
The
that.
Charlie Hebdo magazine, and they got so much backlash from Muslims. No one died, but like just in, like the cartoons in general were there. And then for
But they didn't take it away.
yeah, they didn't take it away, and
take
for it to
away,
be
yeah.
there in 2016, get all the backlash it got,
And 4
and then
years
for
later.
a teacher to teach that in his class, knowing that it already has so much backlash, knowing you're going against a religion, that's wrong. Should not have been killed for once again. But
Yeah.
like, and then like, so I understand why the people, like the Muslims of France, are upset, and it was actually really interesting. I was watching a video on this whole thing, and I was scrolling through the comments 'cause I was curious. Every single comment. Islam is a religion of war. We hate Muslims. Every single one. I was so surprised. It was Al Jazeera. I was literally so surprised. And then like there was one was like, if you don't like our policies, then leave the country. Like this and that. I
No,
was
and that's like going back to like what I said before too. Like, have you noticed that every single time, like either like someone portrays themselves as Muslim, it always attacks the whole religion. But the thing is, even America, you know, when like those mass shootings happen, and like you know, majority of the times, like they're not Muslim or anything, and like they're Christian, but they don't blame the whole religion, you know. And it just goes to show that, you know, Islam, the religion, always gets victimized. I mean, no, yeah, criminalized. Yeah, that's the word. And like it just goes to show we tend to be put in the bad light, even though that's not what we represent. It literally says in the Quran that we don't like condone any violence or killing at all, but yet we're still portrayed in that light.
I mean, in Islam, it says we have very distinctly where it says killing one person is like killing all of humanity. Like this is something like Islam, we stand for peace and we stand for religious freedom, and that's something that's been held against us, you know. In the media, we're not like a religion of peace and religious freedom. We're a religion where you have to be Muslim or you get killed. You know, we're terrorists, we're criminals, we're people that want to radicalize your youth. Like, and it's crazy because even in America, when you look at it, the people that commit the most domestic terrorist attacks are alt-right groups. They are white Christian people, you know. That obviously I know that the Christian belief does not uphold the values of these alt-right groups, but I want to know why it is that these people can commit a domestic terrorist attack, and it's not called that, but the second a brown person or a person of possible Arab, ethnic, brown, Muslim descent even comes close to a crime, they start talking about ties to ISIS.
Yeah, no, like it's crazy. Wait, you gonna say something?
I was gonna say like it's just this is a kid who did this, and then they're relating this all to how they're gonna blame the whole religion off of what one kid did.
Yeah,
he's not even an adult. I think he was probably how old, 16, 17 or
idea.
something like that.
Years old, yeah.
Like I don't like at 17 you're.
And on top of that, like the French Muslims have already been fighting this backs against the wall, like practicing peacefully, being oppressed each and every day, and trying to get through it, trying to make it better every day, and then a refugee who's not even from France, not even a French citizen, comes and does this, and then it makes France Muslims look really bad, and then it ruins their reputation even more. So I feel really bad for French Muslims. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's super sad, and what I've been seeing, like what we've all been seeing on social media, has been like these boycott campaigns for like French products. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's actually gonna do anything?
Well, I think it has done something because you know what? President Macron, like he went on his Twitter and he tweeted in Arabic, which was kind of humorous. But he tweeted in Arabic that the boycotts need to stop and that it's really affecting the French economy, and that they wanted to like kind of appeal what they said before, and that their country stands for peace, which is kind of crazy to me because it wasn't until he was affected, until him and his country were like falling apart without the support of like all these major Arab countries that use their products, that he was like, oh well, maybe we were wrong, like maybe we were wrong for like terrorizing the entire religion, maybe we were wrong for condemning an entire religion, an entire group of people.
And it's also because a lot of like leaders of like other like predominantly like Muslim countries, like even Imran Khan, like Pakistan, leader of Pakistan, he even spoke out onto it, and he talked about how like, you know, it's like a really disappointment, and they're like stopping trade with France brands, which honestly has gotten like worldwide coverage and notice. So it is helping, And they have like, I know there's like statistics on them losing money too. So like it does
All
make
those
it,
brands.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does
All
make a
those
difference.
French
And
brands.
like all these brands, you know, like we use them in America too. And ever since this happened, I haven't gone to Sephora. So yeah, I'm like boycotting.
And
them.
then even like the Turkish people, like Turkey
Yeah.
in general, in their stores, what they actually do is take out anything that was French. And
Oh, they did that?
they took it
Yeah,
out
I
of their
saw it, I
stores. So
saw
like
it,
they were getting zero sales out of Turkey. Like at least over here we have like you could still go and get Sephora. You
Well,
could
yeah,
go get
sure.
YSL, Chanel. They're not taking out of the stores. Like
Yeah,
in
but,
these
like,
other countries, they're like so
Yeah.
invested in this that they're taking out.
Yeah.
What can you do as like an American, like other than not buy? Like
Yeah, I
can
mean,
you really make an impact?
No, I mean,
think
yeah,
that we
like
can.
we
Okay.
can, but also the thing is, one thing that I would go back to is also educating yourself, because like when Hannah said like they always like blame Muslims and then they're like, oh yeah, they're part of ISIS, but do they even know what ISIS stands for? Like ISIS's values has nothing to do with Islam. So like one thing that we always say on this podcast specifically is educating yourself. We all educated ourselves on this topic as well. We did our research and we know more now as well. But that's the main thing that we should do as well. But going back to the boycotts, like
I mean, yeah, like the boycotts are definitely having an effect, and there's so many brands that we can start by like boycotting ourselves. And I know it won't make as much of a difference because we're in the U.S. and it's like a lot of people. We have so many options, and so many people will continue to buy these brands. But even aside from that, like when we educate ourselves, we have to take it further than educating ourselves, because personally, like the election brought this up like recently. My entire circle, like everyone I know, has similar political beliefs to me, right? And so I believe that I'm educated and I believe that I have like a great political stance. But when I look at the rest of Illinois, or like how other people have voted, there's so many other people that have completely different views from me. So it's not enough for us and our friends to be educated. Like what you said, I'm not saying to go fight people on the internet, but I'm saying we saw so many comments of other people saying these horrible things about Islam, and it's like, take the time to find someone that genuinely has that opinion and you want to educate. And I think that one of the best ways that we can do that is by becoming good Muslims, and like really, because again, actions speak louder than words, and just portraying that this is what our religion believes through doing better.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Mama, you have the list in front of you. What's like a list of brands that people may
Yeah.
know that we should just
Put
so
it out
obviously
there.
like
Yeah.
majority of these brands, you know, like they're high fashion brands, and I was talking to Hannah too, it's not like we're buying it
Right.
every single day, but the thing is also like it's like YSL, Louis Vuitton, Sephora. I know all these girls shop at Sephora, Chanel, L'Oreal, Laughing Cow, Hermes, Evian
Cancel.
Waters, Givenchy,
Cancel.
Chloe, Cartier, like all these
Cancel.
brands.
Chloe Ting.
No, not Chloe.
All right, go on.
That's yeah. But yeah, see, like all these, even though we don't like shop at these like brands every day, it's very important to educate yourselves on what brands support these like is supported by France or is a French brand. Because the thing is, I like, even if I wanted to go out, I wouldn't feel good about myself knowing that I'm like literally giving my money to these brands. Even though it won't make a difference, like it doesn't make me feel good about myself supporting a brand that like doesn't stand for Muslims at all.
Do you guys think that like just not boycotting these brands doesn't help? Well, the French stock market took a 40 million loss like a week after the death of the teacher.
You know what's interesting is that there's actually a lot of brands that we use every single day that we didn't know were French, because there were brands that I didn't know were French, and that has to do a lot with food products, and that's something that we can stop. That's what my family personally stopped doing. And aside from the ones that you listed, which were mainly like fashion brands, there's a lot of these products can actually be found in like the stores that we use, like Fresh Farms, like little Middle Eastern stores and stuff. And those are like Tefal, President, Do, Danon, Activia. And so even if it's like the smallest part, getting rid of like cheese in your fridge, like you're still helping, right? At least like it's like you're contributing to the cause.
That's facts. It's actually really, really interesting. So you would think like out of all these countries speaking out, so U.S., we're going through an election and our president isn't the most leftist. So okay, I get it, right? The entire like quote unquote Arab world hasn't said anything. UAE in general.
Yeah.
I mean,
What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, usually,
so
go ahead.
parts of the Khalij actually have
Have they?
done-
Okay.
Yeah, they have done that. Like for example, if you walk into any store in Kuwait right now, that sells beauty products, it will have like a big old X like in paper sheets that show like which products are French and which products we should are products that we should be boycotting, you know. And then I can speak from like the North African perspective.
Uh-huh.
Like my country and my identity has been personally affected by the French for years. Like, you know, like they were the people that colonized us. And so obviously there's always been like a deep hatred for the French, like from these people. And they took the boycott very seriously. You cannot get a French product right now for now.
Got it.
But when you say that, some of them haven't spoken out. Like, for example, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi, the
Yeah.
biggest, yeah.
But I feel like with that country too, like when have they ever spoken out on an issue when it comes to Muslims specifically? I feel like, I don't know, with that country specifically, to them it's all about like their money and all of that. Like I haven't really gone back.
They all about their Louis bags, bro.
Yeah,
Shoot.
like
They
Which is
don't. They have.
shameful.
It is shameful because the thing is, like, they have a lot of Muslims in that country, and like, it just, I don't know, it just shows a lot about that country
Yeah.
itself. But,
It's just one of those countries that values capitalism over like their religious
like human
beliefs or their
rights,
identity.
basically. Yeah.
That's crazy. I saw a video of people in Pakistan like walking, protesting, surprisingly, and then I saw another video of people in Bangladesh, and they had like a effigy of him, like in a doll, and they lit him on fire, they beat him up. They were like the president. They
Yeah.
were stepping on him and stuff. It was bad in Bangladesh. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like moral of the story when you crack it down, right? Like, don't murder people, okay? No matter
Yeah.
what race you are, no matter what religion you are, it's not cool, not okay. And don't mock other religions, dude.
Yeah.
This is not cool. Like, especially as a president, especially as a country, like that promotes freedom of religion. Don't do that.
And if one person does it, that doesn't represent like whatever like beliefs they hold or what their race is.
At least
like,
denounce it.
Yeah.
If you're a president, at least
exactly.
denounce it. Be like, yeah, what he did was not right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? At least denounce it, and then kind of just ease restrictions that you're putting on people that are Muslim in the country. You say radical Islam, but you're closing mosques where thousands of people pray at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, just being conscious of that. Women that wear hijab in France, like they're being oppressed every single day. So stuff like that. Once that starts easing up, then we'll stop talking about it. But until then, we're gonna keep talking about it and keep boycotting.
And raise awareness too.
Yeah. But any other points before we close?
I think we hit all of them.
If you're at a position of power, watch what you say and watch what your actions do.
Yeah, the more. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you all next episode. Slumps.